rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being that best you has just gotten easier. And my guest today is Maria Floris. She is calling in from Woodlands, Texas. I wanted to almost say Florida. It's like, wait a minute, it's not Florida, it's Texas, right?
Texas.
So welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you, Beverly. I'm so happy to be here. Good morning.
Yeah, it's morning, afternoon, evening, wherever it is in the world that you are, right?
That's right.
Right. So, and you're Central Time, right? Yeah.
Central Time here. So it's 9 a.m. for me. Yes.
Yeah. So, I see this little sign behind you that says something about nutrition. So, there we go. She's a nutritional coach and for young athletes. Wow. So you're working with young children, teenagers, or earlier. Can you share with the audience, what you do and the group that you're working with and how that all came about?
Sure. Well, currently I'm a nutritional coach, so I help people implement healthier habits. Some of them are looking for weight loss, some are looking for weight gain, some people just want to be healthier. They might have insulin sensitivity, they're afraid of getting, to be diabetic. But over the last year or so, I've just gravitated more and more towards the kids.
Okay.
Some of them are in weight loss and some of them are athletes, and they're trying to, become better athletes, and they really need the right fuel to fuel their bodies properly because they're growing. They want to boost their immune system and they need the energy for their sport. So it's like a triple thing here. So their nutrition is super important. And I just love doing it. I have a lot of kiddos of my own. I was an athlete, and I just find that this is a place where I feel happy and I can, we bring really good results to them. So my youngest is about 9, Beverly, to answer your age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great. And, it's really great to start that discipline and that guidance at that age, so that as they mature and grow through life, that hopefully it'll stay in their little brains, right? And they'll still function that way. Or, if they do, as teenagers do and young adults, go off into that crazy party lifetime, but then circle back around and come back into that nutritional need, right? And that awareness. You said 3 things, about the immune system and really, taking care of the body and all these things. And when I look at the things that are going on in the world today in this whole messed up, COVID arena, everything that you touched on right there is something that everyone should be actually following those guidelines, because you want to have an immune system that's strong and powerful and can combat anything that's turned loose, right? I mean, we're going to be exposed and have been exposed, since the beginning of time to all different kinds of viruses and bacterias and, all of that. So, it just kind of is bringing more to the forefront and that awareness. So what have you found that's maybe been one of your biggest challenges during this time with what you do in the trainings and stuff that you give?
That's a great question. And I found over the last few months that one of the biggest challenges, and this is not for kiddos only, this is for the population in general, is trying to have a structured schedule. Because you fuel yourself, and the way you hydrate has a lot to do with a good schedule. So a lot of people are, we're going to bed at 12 or 1. I know a lot of teenagers are going to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning and are getting up at 1. Well, the human body is not designed to be active at night and sleeping during the day. We're one of those mammals that is designed to rest and recover at night and to be active in the day. So just by doing that, we're not going to function, in our optimal way. And in addition, our eating schedule is going to be all over the place. So, people are having snacks at 1 in the morning. they're getting up, they're tired, they're groggy from sleeping so much, so they get up, they're totally dehydrated, and they might not be reaching for, a healthy first meal of the day. So that's basically what I'm encountering lately, how to get a little bit more structure into your eating, into your schedule in general, and into your eating.
And that's so true, because again, it's like people don't know what to do. They get bored, and of course, here's that boob tube right in front of you, and so now they're either binge watching, and then eating late, which is not meant for the human body, as you just mentioned. It's supposed to be in repair mode, not in digestive mode, and you're up till all hours of the night, and then you go to bed, and then you get up, and so your whole system is really thrown off. And I watched that happen. I lived in Vegas for quite a while, and I had a lot of friends who worked in the casinos, and so you've got all these different hours, right? And my friend would go to work at 8 o'clock at night, and then she'd be home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and so that schedule timing, your body tries to do its best to adjust, but it was designed for these hours of time, the nighttime sleep time, to replenish itself. And sleeping in the daytime wasn't about replenishing. That's about digesting and putting the stuff in that's needed, right? So it's quite interesting, how sometimes we get our worlds turned upside down. Like you say, there's no structure.
There's no structure. And you're right. I think the body has an amazing capacity to adapt. So we're blessed. The way we were created is amazing. The body is actually seeking to be healthy, right, in many ways. And we tend to kind of make, do something to make ourselves trip over ourselves, in the body's mission, try to come into balance. So it can adapt. Ideally, we're not awake at night and sleeping during the day. But then even there, you can have a little bit of tools that you use to help stay as healthy as possible. I mean, if that's your job, your reality, then you need to organize yourself around it with the right knowledge, with the right mindset, with the right habits, so that you're minimizing the impact of that, schedule that's turned around. So there's a lot of things people can still do, and the body can adapt. And one thing that I often see is how the body adapts to few calories. In one of my, I guess, maybe 30-40% of the time that I work with adults, people in their 40s and 50s, when we actually do a food log for 5-6 days, they're in 900 or 1,000 calories, Beverly, for a body that, normally on the curve should be taking in 1,600 calories. They're taking in 1,000. They're hardly eating, and they're gaining weight or staying stable. They're overweight, and they can't lose weight. Well, what happened is when you've been dieting for 20 years and you've done all the diets in the world, every time you do a diet, you potentially lose muscle. Every time you do a very strict diet, you send the message to the brain that you're starving.
Right. That's so true. Yeah.
So the body slows down its metabolism and is prepared to survive on less, and is grabbing all of that food and sending, you're going to a fat deposit because this is how I survived. This is how you years ago, right? Except that those fat deposits got used up when you didn't eat for 10 days until you So
exactly.
Now, we're telling our body, you're going into starvation mode. It's adapting. It's slowing down the metabolism. It's burning off its muscle. So metabolism slows down even more, because more muscle means you need more just to survive.
Right.
And clearly you're like, how can I be eating so little and be 60 pounds overweight? Well, because you went through what's called metabolic adaptation. Now we got to reverse diet and teach your body to eat again, teach your body to take in food. Right. And that happens to way more many people than you would think. It's really interesting. So that's all around the topic of adaptation. So this is an amazing machine that we have.
Oh, I agree with you. It's amazing in so many aspects, whether it's just the eating, your thought processing, your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual aspects of who you are. Each one of them has their benefits, and really, when you start to understand those and you can capitalize on them. But I like how you presented that, and that adaptability, because I hear that so much. I have a lot of friends that are overweight and they have an issue, and it's like, I don't get it. I hardly eat anything. and I keep putting on these weight, and it's like, that's the problem. You got to eat more, because when the body feels starvation, but there again, it's a psychological thing, because you talked about the mindset, that psychological thing. But if I eat more, then I've got more that's going to come on, and that's not what it is, right? And the body needs to be active. It's not designed to be stable. It's not designed just to be sitting and not be, in operation of some kind of movement, right? And I'm fortunate the place that I'm living in, it has a set of stairs, right? And so running up and down those stairs, countless, times during the day is really good, because, and I like to bounce down and run up, which also gets that heart muscle going and everything else, right? And so it's being active, going outside, taking a walk. If you really want to get exercise and you can't get out, you can't get away, well, just run up and down a set of stairs, 4 or 5 times. That'll get things going for you, right? So
I like it. No excuses, right? No excuses whatsoever.
No excuses. And you can grab, out of your cupboard, a can of something, or a bottle of water, right? And you start doing your curls and lifts and all these kind of things, right? So it's not like you have to go to the gym. You have plenty of things around that you can do. And I think during this lockdown time, if you had a tendency to not be, active, you're going to be even less active, because you'd have nowhere to go. And they don't want you to go anywhere. And again, it's this they thing. Who are they, right? How come they're telling me that I can't even go outside and take a walk, And, so there's just a lot of mixed things that go on, So your mindset, that mental state, is also in a state of confusion with your physical body, right? Yeah. And then you tie in that emotion, because we have been really hammered in with the fear aspect of everything that's going on. Oh, if you don't do this, that's going to happen. You don't do that, it's going to happen, And it's like, I don't listen to the news. I haven't had a TV for probably 25 years, right? Now, am I like blind to what's going on in the world? No. And I have people that keep me updated, but it's like, oh, that happened, okay, fine, and go on with something else. So it's not something that you dwell on or whatever. And again, you kind of have to look at what is it that I'm designed to do here on this planet, right? Is that the position I chose? Then that's what I should be doing. But if working in the science field and the medicine field and all of that is not your expertise, leave it to them. Change the things that you can, and let go of the things that you can't, right? So what can you do to you that can change and make you that better you? Whether it's on an emotional, a mental, a physical, or a spiritual level, and they all do work together. What is your purpose for being here? And start focusing on that. And I think if we all stayed in our lane, it wouldn't be so much static. Because how many times has someone come in and told you your business, like, oh, that's not right, I heard this over here and I heard that over there, and you can't eat that because it's bad for this and whatever, oh, don't do that exercise because that exercise is going to hurt you here and it's going to do this, right? And it's like they have no clue what nutrition and exercise is all about, because it's not their lane, right?
Well, people are getting a lot of their advice from whatever celebrity is doing whatever diet, so there's some person who's doing intermittent fasting and they swear by it. All of a sudden you get all these kids who are 15 and on Instagram, and they decide they're doing intermittent fasting because such and such did it. I've actually seen some celebrities say something about the no carb smoothie and they got banana in it, or plantain. And I'm like, do you know what protein, carbs, and fats are? Do you even know? It happens all the time. I mean, I have 3 teenagers and a 10-year-old, and my teenagers are athletes. 2 of them are high-level athletes. And so, they swim 2 or 3 hours a day, then they go to the gym and they do strength building. when they couldn't swim at all and go to the gym and do weights, they were on the bicycle 2 or 3 hours a day because they just, they need the exercise. Their mind and their bodies are hungry
Right.
for it. So my son, who's 15 and just put on like 20 pounds of muscle in the last year and a half, and he's just getting super strong, he has his buddies from the gym. And so he comes and he tells me, oh, mom, I should have, whatever, 250, 300 grams of protein a day because this. And I'm like, hun, okay, this is your weight. This is your training schedule. You need about this much. And he's like, well, somebody said something. And I'm like, people pay me to do this. I'm an Olympic gymnast. I'm a certified nutrition coach. Son, so clearly, mom, it's just mom.
That's exactly right. That is so true.
He's telling me, what he needs. And oftentimes they want to run for the protein powders,
Right.
before they're at a level or at a stage in their training and in their exhaustion, that before they need a supplement where they can still get all of their macronutrients and their recovery and amino acids from food,
Right.
they run to the supplements because it's so easy to grab that thing and grab a scoop of powder and, put it in the blender and 30 grams of protein per serving. Yes, but what about all the other added stuff in there? So most of the nutrition coaches that I know and that I respect, we go for food first. You can get most of your nutrition from food. Now, some people like to supplement omega-3 because it's so important and they believe they're not getting it from their diet. When you are training at a certain level of exhaustion and fatigue, you might need to supplement, but it's just, and that's fine. I'm not pro or against supplements. I'm just saying there's a time and a place, and it's
Right.
so that people, even for example, in the CrossFit community, I don't know if you know people in CrossFit, Beverly.
I do.
Some of them are great. I think, I don't do CrossFit, but some of my friends do, and it's amazing. And it's worked well for them. It's really good for them, for their mindset, for their body. But sometimes the CrossFit community is like, okay, well, you're training 45 minutes a day now. Now you need this. You need your pre-workout. You need your post. You need this. I'm like, that's a 45 minute a day thing. Okay. I used to train 6 hours. Okay. Can you wait until you're at a certain level? Just throw all the supplements in there. So it's kind of interesting. I think the best thing is to do a customized nutrition plan. Stop copy pasting from your friend, from your neighbor, from the fastest runner, from, the guy on the basketball team, and just figure out, what your body needs. And that's the best thing to do. Even if they're 10, even if they're 60, even if they're 70, even if they're 42, your body is unique. So it's going to have different needs from everybody else.
I think that's really relevant. What you just said there is to really focus on what is it that my body needs, not your body or your body or your body, right? It's what does my body need? And you really start listening and paying attention because everyone is unique in what you do, the time of day that you do it, what your mindset, what your intentions are, right? And where you're going in that development process. Right? I'm not anti-nutrition. I'm not pro-nutrition. I'm right there with you. It's like, what's my body need? And if I'm not getting it, and there's pros and cons on everything with the food. Yes, you're getting more nutritional value in organic type foods versus inorganic, depending on where it's been growing, but you got the pesticides to deal with. So you've got, so many irons in the fire and so many things that transpire. And again, where is that food being grown? What's the earth that it's growing in? And what's, missing? Like a lot of your organic fields, plants need magnesium and it will deplete. Yet on an organic field, you're not able to put put into the ground magnesium. Well, that's a key element, especially for the brain, right? So it's
and
like
for recovery for athletes.
Yeah. So, so there's a place and time for everything, but it's understanding that as well. And too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing, right? And so it is individualized. But again, knowing that, and this is your business. You say, hey, wait a minute. I've been trained in this, and I'm not someone who hasn't walked the talk. I've been down the road. I've been, like you said, you're an Olympic athlete, So you might know just a little bit about it, But again, to your kids, you're just your mom. You're
Yeah.
just the mom, and kids only listen to this much with mom. For when they start little and they're growing up, like your 10-year-old, he's still listening to mom, right? But well, you get in those teenage years, and now mom becomes like the most stupidest thing on the planet. She doesn't know nothing, right?
No, I'm an annoyance. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah. Oh, it's crazy. But I promise you, it will come back around by the time they get into their mid-20s and start pushing that 38 mark again. All of a sudden, moms start to slowly get smarter. By the time they're in their 30s, moms are really smart again. By the time they're 40, they're so, oh my gosh, mom, I wish I would have listened to you back then. So it does come around. But it's interesting how we go through all those stages, and not just with nutrition, with other elements of our life, right? In relationships, in finances, it's the same thing, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I actually hire the best tutors, the best teachers, the best coaches for my kids. And at some point, despite a lot of what I may know in the mental part, for example, for students under pressure, or for athletes who are student athletes, double pressure,
Right.
I need to put in a third resource. I would be able to guide you, but I don't want to erode the mother-child relationship. And they're experts in mental preparation. So, you try to find the good coach for each thing.
Right.
And a lot of parents seek me out because they probably have a pretty good idea of what nutrition is. Some people are super healthy, the mom and dad, and the kids are all over the place with their food. And they're like, I can't do this. It's like a mental block against me. So I need a third party, someone with credibility, with knowledge, to come in here and, combine knowledge with the capacity to change.
Right.
Because you could know a lot. Most people, I actually have some clients who know a lot about nutrition, and we're just talking like this. They really know. They've read the articles, not the ones from certain areas, like
Right.
Mayo Clinic and the valid articles and research, and so they know a lot, and they just can't bridge that gap between knowing and doing. And so
Right there's a key. It's that implementing what you know.
implementing,
And it is critical. It is critical, and I know, and I've seen this in a lot of different workshops, on different subjects. It doesn't matter what that subject is, and information is valuable. It's priceless, but it's not worth a dime if you don't put it into action. I have been to so many workshops myself, where it's like, hey, this is all great and everything, but they don't give you that direction is to implement it in all these aspects of your life. And this was early in my growing period, and stuff. And so for me, I'd ask questions, and the question, is, okay, so how does that pertain to me? How do I incorporate it in my life and in the direction and things that's going on in my life right now? Right? It's that you're looking for that guidance, just a suggestion, one or two suggestions where it's like, okay, then again, that mindset shifts and it's like, oh yeah, now I get it. Because sometimes we just need that, because it's, like you said, there's that little block. It's like, this is all fine and dandy, but how do I do it? So when I started teaching my own workshops and stuff, that was for me the number one key, that no person is going to walk out of my workshops without knowing exactly how to implement or start implementing it in their daily activity. Now, whether they choose to do it or not, I have no control over that. But I will guarantee when you walk out of my classroom, you know how to implement it on a daily basis.
Sure. And I find that a lot of people, like you said, Beverly, a lot of people, when they start to implement, if there's a huge road ahead, they feel overwhelmed. And so they're like stuck. They're frozen right there. They can't even start. But if you implement maybe one habit every week or two, or whatever the time frame is, some people improve their schedule. Some people go for hydration. You're confusing thirst for hunger. You're tired. You're groggy. You're
Right.
at exponentially increase when you're thirsty. So sometimes it's like, we're going to hydrate a little better. And then we go for the strategies,
Right.
whatever it is, whether you need the colored water bottle, whether you need, my 10-year-old, she puts like blue tape around her glass and she knows she needs to have at least 4 cups of those up to the blue tape. Whatever the tool is, simple or complex or whatever. Some people use reminders. I got to drink another 6 ounces when the alarm, whatever it is. Or you put it next to the car keys. So every time you're going to, to reach for the keys because you're leaving, you have to have another, whatever, 8 ounces. Yeah. So we might go, okay, let's hydrate better. Okay, you know what? I'm feeling a little better. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to have a snack at this time to, help regulate your sugar levels in the blood. And so they start eating more, but they start to feel better, and then they don't binge a few hours later. Right. So it's like a little thing. And so when you get these quick hits, it feeds your confidence, it feeds your happiness, and you're like, I think I can bite off a bigger one next time.
Right.
So walking, bridging that gap is easier when you do it progressively, and when you go for the low-hanging fruit first, and then we can talk about taking out some of your favorite food items or modifying them. But you can't go as a nutrition coach and on day one say, you're not going to eat this. I mean, it's not.
Oh, the body goes into shock,
And they're going to hate it. They're going to hate it. They're going to continue to relate health and nutrition with suffering and pain, and you can't do that. You got. Hey, this is pretty cool. This is fun. I'm eating stuff I like.
Yeah, you just tweak a little here and tweak a little there, and the body adjusts so much faster, and it's not as harsh on the body as like you just stop with something, and change everything instantaneous. The body goes into shock. It's kind of like what everybody did here, in this COVID thing. It's like, okay, everybody's got to stay home. Just boom, all of a sudden you went from action to total inaction, and it's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right? I know what I do in the morning when I get up. The first thing that I do is I make sure I hydrate my brain. So I always drink water first thing in the morning. I try to drink between 4 and 8 ounces before I do anything else. Well, what is the first thing most people go after? They go after a coffee, right? Okay, well, coffee has water in it. Not quite the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, my dad loves coffee. He's 74. He's an amazing person. And he has in his den, the breakfast room, he has like this huge poster that says, there's no life before coffee. And so he's one of those coffee drinkers. So, it's okay. Drink your coffee. Just make sure you got to drink more water. So there's a certain number of ounces you need per day based on your weight and your activity level. Say 64 ounces is your prescribed amount. For every cup of coffee, it's another cup of water that you should be taking in to hydrate. So it's you give them like very simple rules,
Right.
Okay, 1 cup of coffee, 1 cup of water. You don't want to make it complicated, and you don't want to take out somebody's coffee unless it's clearly affecting them physically, and like there's a doctor saying we need to stop this, your adrenal glands or your flux is really, so you really don't want to take away something they like so much and that helps them unless it has, something critical that it's not working. Right. But then you bring in, well, how can I supplement that? What can I do?
And you start that movement slowly, right? It's not like you just, do a cold turkey. Some people can handle the cold turkey stuff, but the majority of people can't. It's too much of a shot.
A few of them can.
Yeah.
For example, I've met people who, when they stopped smoking, they stopped. They said, this is my last cigarette of my life, and they put it out, and they, 40 years later, they're not smoking.
Right.
Those are like the outliers, right, Beverly? Most of the time, it's not as easy as that. So you got to be able to meet them where they're at and say, okay, are we going to do something drastic? Okay, if those habits that you're doing that are completely different from your current lifestyle, if they're serving you, and if they can become the new normal,
Right.
that's okay. Otherwise, probably 90% of people stand to gain from doing it progressively and doing it like in a fun, seamless way.
And it just, I don't know, it shifts you because, as you're starting to do it slow, and things started to shift and balance out, then all of a sudden, oh, what the heck, and then you can go all in, so to speak, and it works. But you don't just, like you say, in a lot of instances, just cold turkey isn't where it's at because it does shock the body, right?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was about a 2-year adaptation. When I quit gymnastics, I had a terrible time. I was actually on a diet 2 years, on a very, very strict diet, because I was training to go to World Championships and Olympics, and my nutritionist was amazing. And I was given a list of foods to eat and not to eat. And we were counting everything, calories, carbs, everything. So, I had 8% body fat as a 17-year-old woman, and a horrible relationship with food. So I did well in my competitions. I did great. I performed well. But the day that I quit gymnastics, I quit cold turkey, 6 hours a day, nothing. And I started to eat, from eating a very restricted diet to, oh my God, I have to get revenge on the world now. I came back from Korea. My aunts picked me up at the airport and they go, hey, you have your afternoon free. You're not 6 hours a day in the gym. Do you want to go out? You want to go to a movie? You want to go here? You want to go? And I said, take me to, the name of a store that had all the imported goods. And I bought like $25 worth of chocolate, and I went home and I started to eat it. That's what I wanted to do. That was the main priority in my mind after 2 years of dieting. And I put on 30 pounds, Beverly. When you're 5'1", 30 pounds is a lot.
Yeah, I get that. I'm 4'11 3/4, so I get that.
So I was binging. I was eating so much. I was in high school. I would eat as much as 17-year-old boys. Okay, like 8 slices of pizza, 10 slices of pizza, and then I went off to college. And I didn't go off. I lived at home. And in college, I would like have a cookie and a snack in the cafeteria at 11:30. Finish classes. Oh, let's go to McDonald's. We'd go to McDonald's at 12. I'd have my whole meal, my value meal, with a sundae. And then I get home at 1:15, and my parents were sitting down to lunch, and I would sit down at the table and have lunch with them. I mean, I don't know what was going on. It was like I was like a little tunnel with no limit. And those 30 pounds were horrible. But I would also sneak food at night. I would get up, go to the kitchen, find the hidden goodies because they were hiding them from me, so I wouldn't eat that much. I would find all the hiding places at midnight and just, I was binging. And for anybody that's ever been in that situation where you're binging, it feels so horrible. It feels out of control. Right. And the slight pleasure of the taste of the donut or cake or whatever it is you're eating, it's very little. It's very low compared to how horrible you're feeling during it and after. Right. For me to stop that and kind of find my balance, it took a long time. For me, it wasn't quick, but I didn't do it with a nutritionist. I did it on my own. And when I eventually lost weight after a trip to Greece, because ironically, I wasn't thinking about food because I was distracted. So I was eating healthier, because I was distracted. Nobody knew me. I was eating grapes. Then I would go on a little scooter all over the Greek island. So I wasn't thinking about my next meal. And I got back to Guatemala, my home, and I was like, okay, I'm on a roll. I'm going to get healthy for me, not for my dad, not for my coach, not for the nutritionist who weighs me in on Thursdays. Right. For me. And I did that, and I lost weight, and I got to my ideal weight. But then I remained scared. How do I maintain? How do I not fall back off? How much to eat now? I'm not trying to lose. I'm just trying to maintain. And I was like, just always on the lookout, so you're not relaxed, right? And then like 2 years later, there was a banquet. We were done with the college semester. We took our finals. I was like so happy. I did well on my tests. We were all eating. I was in the buffet line, and I was really distracted chatting with my friends. And then we sat down to eat, and one of them said, oh, Maria, you're always on a diet. Ooh. And I go, no, I'm not. I mean, I had chosen the most delicious food, Beverly. I mean, what looked most appetizing. Right. But I looked at the plate, and there was a really big salad with grilled chicken and avocado pieces and sliced carrots and some cottage cheese and olive oil. And there was a plate of, and I was like, I was almost crying because I had been thinking healthy or delicious. And that was my mindset, remember? Mm. And it this much they became one and the same. I was longing for that delicious food that was at the same time healthy. Right. So when you get to that point, it's like a wonderful feeling. And that's how you keep your weight and you're pretty healthy. And, if you fall off the wagon, because we're human, and oh my gosh, I haven't been eating well the last 3 or 4 days. you can get back on track in 4 days, not in 4 months, which is what you
Well, yeah, and that's so true. It's in the moment. It's in the moment,
yeah. And
right?
if you're eating healthy 80% of the time, you're probably going to be great. You
Right.
don't have to be like adhering to these strict rules all the time. So,
And again, move that word diet out of the way. Because what's the
yeah.
first three letters of diet, right? Hey, just saying. And it is a psychological thing, and I've talked with my kids. They're all growing now and everything, but my middle boy was struggling, and he goes, "Mom, I I need to change something here, and I need to get back to where I need to lose this weight." Because he wasn't way overweight, but he had like 30 pounds that just seemed to hang around all the time, and he wasn't feeling the greatest energy wise and everything. And so it's like, so mom, talking about this diet, talking about that diet and everything. And I said, Jason, all you need to do is take a look at what you're eating and just start tweaking things. Just take what you're doing, tell me what you're eating during the day. It's like, okay, so let's tweak that and add this instead. And then let's tweak this over here. Take that out, put this in, and just each day, do something different. And within a month and a half, he was back down. He had dropped that so fast. He was like totally amazed, and people were asking, "What are you doing? You starving yourself or what?" And he goes, "No, I just changed a few things," and he's kept it off. And he has a good relationship with food, and he eats a volume, but he's not storing any of that like he had been before. And that's all it takes is start to really understand your body and start tweaking it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
That's great.
Maria, this has been absolutely awesome. Great information for people out here in how to, again, what is that relationship that you personally have with food, right? Find that happy space, find that happy medium, and stay in it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay in it. And use a little bit of willpower and a little bit of no nonsense things.
Right.
Those tweaks that are easy, the low hanging fruit, go for those first, and then you gain momentum for bigger challenges.
There
So,
you go. Great advice. Great
yeah.
advice. Thank you so much for being on the show. I enjoyed this. And all you listeners out there, if you want to reach Maria, tell us how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you can go on Facebook, Let's Be Fit Today, and message me from there. And Instagram, Let's Be Fit Today _Maria. And I'll be happy to help you out. I will read most of the messages or my assistant, and I'll get back within 24 hours. And
That's
you
awesome.
can consult anything. It doesn't have to be book an appointment. I
Right.
love. I
And
get asked
even
questions.
comment below this video here, right? And let us know what you liked about what was one thing you took away from Maria's talk here today that you're going to maybe implement in your activities when it comes to nutrition and working out. So again, thank you, Maria. It's time now to say, go out there, be that best you that you can be, because Maria and I are going to be the best we that we can be, and we're going to just do it right. We're going to pay attention to our bodies, right?
Yes. Thank you, Beverly. This was so much fun. Thank you so much. What a pleasure.
You're welcome so much, and we'll see all of you on the next show.
Bye.